special from the first. She really was.
And then the Winn-Dixie was some dog. It was supposed to be a mutt, but actually it was some exotic French dog, and they brought 5 or 6 over, and then they did makeup on them to match, to whatever.
Yeah.
So Shelby just had one double dog on the film. Oh no, she had 2. There was another dog that did a few certain bits, but Amber is her understudy, if you will, and she's also a rescue. And because Shelby's marking on her chest is so distinctive, they would paint Amber a little marking that was the same.
Amber looks so much like Shelby
that
the first several days on set I could not tell them
amazing.
apart.
We would have to say, is Amber Shelby? Amber Shelby.
And they're both rescues. But Amber brought something that Shelby didn't have. Amber loves snow. Shelby thinks not so much. Shelby was in Tennessee and now in California, and it's like, this snow is. But Amber said, "This is the greatest stuff ever," and was running around and throwing up snow and everything. So that scene in the park. Where the dog runs up the slide. That's Amber.
That's actually Amber.
and Amber is also. But the problem with Amber is she has so much energy. Like the scene where Amber runs up the slide. It's Bella runs up the slide in the backyard and leaps over to start her journey. That was Amber. But if you look closely, it's slowed down. It's actually in slow motion because we couldn't get Amber to take. Yeah, she would take like a half a second to get up that slide and be over the fence. We're like,
we just thought, let's do it slow-mo process.
Yeah, we're not going to slow her down. She just thought it was so much fun.
The editing part.
Yes, exactly.
All right. I guess we can start now.
I was starting.
Oh, okay.
I started.
Yeah, can we get that from your voices, the story about Shelby, like being an adopted dog, and why it was so important for you guys to have an adopted dog, a rescued dog in the movie?
Well, we're super grateful to Sony because they really saw our vision about that. We are a rescue family. Bruce's daughter runs a rescue. We really wanted to put the message out there that rescue dogs can do anything. And, Bella is a rescue dog, so of course we would want a rescue dog. And, it was a lot more work. We did a nationwide search. She's out of a rescue in a rescue associated with a shelter in Tennessee. And
but even it's worse than that. It's not just being a shelter dog. Shelby was living in a landfill. She was eating whatever there is in a landfill. So garbage. She was living on garbage. We don't know what kind of human interaction that she was having, if any. Certainly no other animals except for maybe rats. I mean, we're talking about kind of one of the worst existences you can imagine for a dog, because dogs crave people and they need love. And she was coaxed into the animal control vehicle by this woman who rescued Shelby, Megan, and Megan took Shelby back to the shelter. For Shelby, like most shelter dogs are upset to be there, but for Shelby, this was like a spa. All of a sudden, she's
checked into the Ritz.
Yeah, she's got heat and medicine and food on a regular basis, and people loving her. And so when we went down, we flew down to meet Shelby to see if she would be the right dog. And Catherine went with the purpose of identifying whether or not the dog we were about to meet had the look, because it's all about the eyes to camera, because she's a movie director, so she knows. And we also took one of Debbie's team, Teresa, down there, an animal trainer, to see if Shelby was responsive. A dog needs to be motivated by people, by wanting to please people and wanting to have a relationship with people, or they don't make good actors.
Yeah.
And within an hour, Catherine said, "Oh, this is the dog," and Teresa said, "This is the dog," and I said, "When's lunch?" Because I didn't have any other function.
A lot of insight. You brought a lot in. And also, you were mentioning these 2 movies, Marley and Winn-Dixie. We have a very different philosophy of handling animals on movies. Those movies are like kind of old school. Those dogs would be told no. Those dogs would have some negative reinforcement. I think why you're seeing that she's such a loving dog, she doesn't hear the word no. It's all positive reinforcement. It's all love, play, affection, and the occasional little piece of chicken. And and so it's a really joyous process. It was really.
It does slow things down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a dog will be more responsive if you use negative reinforcement. but that is not our ethic.
That's not what we do.
In today's reality, like it's almost zero tolerance talking about any topic. It can be about dogs, it can be about love, it can be about different races.
Yeah.
How do you guys prepare to confront the media? Like we know what happened with
Not you guys.
movie.
You guys are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like you guys feel limited because now you cannot express 100% because you want to make everybody happy.
No.
And we can see that with Bella, that she was a happy dog. We can
Yeah.
see that with Shelby, that she's happy. But I know that sometimes that can limit your creativity or your production.
Actually, thank you for that question. Honestly, no matter what it is, we tell the truth. We tell the truth. And the truth is that on our movies, the dogs have always been treated beautifully. And anybody that tried to insinuate otherwise was proven wrong. So, we don't do spin. We don't make up stuff for the press. We're not that interesting. We're pretty boring. So we don't have scandals of our own. So we just tell the truth.
Well, I'm pretty exciting. But if you can look at
All the typing. Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
so exciting. So much
if you
typing.
can look at Shelby and get some sort of negative off of that, then you're a different kind of person, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
She's so lovely. It's so impossible not to love her.
Yeah,
Since the moment
and we
we
loved
see
her from the first.
Yeah.
And it was funny when sometimes when I'm handling her for some of these things, when she was in the shelter, her name was Baby Girl. Baby Girl. And they all had those southern accents. And sometimes when I want her to come to me, as we're shooting something, I'll be like, Baby Girl, she'll come over, because she remembers that.
Yeah. So, how it is working together? This is not the first time that you guys work together.
No, it's not.
But
It won't be the last.
I work from home and I see
Yeah.
my husband the whole day, and it's not easy at all.
Yes. Wow. I have a very, this is a personal question, I'll give you a personal answer. I have a very strong yoga practice. And so I definitely get out of my home for about an hour and a half every day, and that may have saved our marriage and our business partnership, don't you think? That you get a break from me and
I am just picturing how it must be so wonderful for you to be there with me.
you know what though?
I believe that. I can see his
that's the
face
thing.
so in love.
I can't sell him as a monster. I do say I tell the truth. I will tell the truth. Bruce is funny. And if you're in a marriage or a business partnership, I think having a great sense of humor is what saves you, because it can't be all romance and whatever. That's not what life is like.
And as writing partners, though, the key for making that piece work is utter respect for the professionalism and artistry of the other person. There is no wrong. So if we disagree on something, there's no wrong. We've worked out a formula because when you have a partnership and you disagree, the only thing you can do is dissolve the partnership, and we're not going to do that. So what we do instead is we say, this is your project. You get to decide.
You get the last word.
You get the last word. So if Catherine says, I absolutely believe the dog should be able to fly, I can say, I don't think so. And
I love you, but no.
I love you, but no. And we worked that out very early on, so that we can get through all of these disagreements that occur naturally in a collaborative process.
Yeah. And we do like each other.
How much time did you have the actors kind of hang out with the dog in order to get a relationship going?
Well, that's a great question because have you had a chance to meet Shelby?
Yes.
Okay.
Takes about 30 seconds.
Yeah, she is just so warm and receptive that there wasn't any problem with that. And then the next question is, well, how did Jonah get such chemistry? and this is where I think that a really great actor can summon authentic emotions from deep inside themselves and bring them to the surface, and that's what Jonah did. That's what Alexandra did. They bring these things to the surface and then they connect. Edward James Olmos, when he met with Shelby for the first time, he said, I just want some alone time with this dog, and everybody pulled back, and he just lay on the concrete where they were going to spend a lot of their time holding the dog and talking very gently to the dog and making a soul-to-soul connection that was beautiful to see.
Neat. And then, for I think for Alexandra and for Jonah, BB. We have another dog in the movie. That's BB. That's baby Bella. So we called her BB. And she really was a puppy, and had really just gotten her shots to where she could even be around people. And so I think as an actor or a human being, I don't think anybody can do anything with that licky, lovey, fantastic thing except have just a pure response. Nobody's acting in that scene when the dog comes running and Jonah picks him up and it's like he's laughing. I mean, that. It's not acting. It's just having fun in a movie.
And so the screenwriting, you've done that. Have you done this for all your pictures? Or have you done your own?
Yeah, I was very fortunate when I sold 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter as a property to be turned into a TV show, but they also wanted it developed as a screenplay. I was the cheapest screenwriter in Hollywood at that time, so they hired me to write the screenplay, but that established the precedent that I write my own stuff. And so no one else is invited in to first draft my own stuff, and I have turned down offers on my material, my intellectual property. They've said, well, we really want to have this other writer, and I've said no.
Good. Well, very good. But now that you're in the movie business too, when you write your books, aren't you kind of visualizing it as a picture?
I'll tell you a secret. There's a scene in this book that you called out. One of you was talking about the grocery store scene. I put that in that book so that we could sell it as a movie, because I knew that is something that a studio executive could read and understand why it was a great scene.
Yeah.
So that's why it's in there, and it's in there blocked out as if it's part of a screenplay. This happens, this happens, this happens, very clear, very sharp, very precise, so they can see the choreography in their minds and fall in love with it and say, oh, I want to shoot that scene. And that's... The director felt that way. It makes it a good
novel too. It's a great scene in the novel.
I could see it again, and that's just where I happened to open the book, and I read that chapter while I was waiting outside. And I said, that's like exactly like the movie.
Yeah, oh, I love that.
Because a lot of times, book to movie, they're not recognizable. But
not this one.
And my question goes to that too. How do you get inspired? How do you refresh your mind? Because having a bestseller book it's easy for a lot of people. I wouldn't say for everybody, but having so many successful books is not easy to achieve. So how do you refresh your mind? How do you get inspired? And I can see your love for dogs too.
I wish I could pretend to be some sort of absolute genius, but the fact of the matter is that I never paid attention in school. I was always just watching movies in my head. I was making up stories. When I would tell someone what had happened to me in the walk home, when I was a little boy, there were always floods and fires and fire engines and all this stuff that could not possibly have happened. And it's just because I've always lived in this fanciful world. I'm sure if we gathered up all my elementary and junior high school teachers and sat them down here and said, Bruce Cameron is not living out of a dumpster. He actually has his own home and a car. They'd say that's impossible. This kid was absolutely worthless.
Since I'm here, you could bring in your wife. I will show you what it's like sometimes having dinner with Bruce. Start talking. Just start talking to me.
Okay, so how was your day? Hey.
I'm sorry.
Hey.
and then I will say, Bruce, where were you? Where were you just then? He's like, oh, I was thinking about it. A Dog's Promise, how it's going to be. Like, he'll just glance up to the corner, and I know he's somewhere else, and I'm like, and I don't. I actually love it. I think it's his soul, it's who he is, and so he gets his space, and then he eventually comes back and joins me, and it's great.
So for all the moms that we are worried about their kids being so
dreamy,
so that's okay. One day they can end like him, making movies in Hollywood with purpose.
I don't think it's of it as a treatable condition. I think it's just the opposite. I think it's something to be encouraged. We have all kinds of people, and the engineers of the world who can concentrate. We need those people because otherwise nothing works, right? And then we need people like me. I can't draw a straight line. I could when I build something from IKEA, I always have all these leftover parts. So I have to say that there are all types of people, and let's encourage all of those minds.
Perfect.
Is it good?
Yeah. So what's next on your agenda? Is there more dog movies coming?
Things are going so well. I've got a middle reader series going that I write twice a year now because it's basically been, for the most part, adaptations of my grown-up books, but we're starting to branch out into other things. I also have
Shelby's
Shelby's story. I wrote Shelby's story, and I named it Shelby's Story. I have no imagination at all. Scratch everything I just said. Shelby's story is not an adaptation. It's a
about her rescue.
fictionalized version of her rescue, and that's out. That's been out since November. It's doing quite well because people want to read about the movie star dog. And I also have a chapter book series coming out that'll launch this time next year, about a rescue dog who works in animal rescue, and that's for the little kids. And so
then A Dog's Promise.
And then A Dog's
coming out.
Promise
That's
is my
the third
next big book
in the A Dog's Purpose series. So.
Yes, and that'll be out in October. So I'm writing about 4 books a year now, and so I'm really heads down focused.
Any movies
I know, it's a lot.
made out of any of these?
A Dog's Journey, which is the second one in the A Dog's Purpose series, will be out on May 17th.
Wow.
I know.
The same year.
We'll be sitting at the
this
same
year.
table.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Dennis Quaid is back.
Oh, great.
Josh Gad is back.
Josh Gad, the dog, is back. It's the continuation of the life of this one dog. Different than A Dog's Purpose, because in A Dog's Purpose it was all, to me, about learning skills to help it make its way back to his boy. A Dog's Journey is having to do with a relationship with one specific person.
This time a girl. It's a girl and her dog.
Yes.
So that's
Okay.
Nice. Going back to A Dog's Way Home, what's the main message that you want people to take from it? Because it's a beautiful movie. We had the opportunity to watch it last night.
You came last night. I love
So it was so powerful. It was so. I don't have a dog personally, but I fall in love with dogs.
Oh,